What if everything you thought you knew about confidence was only half the story? Uncover the hidden truths about confidence and how to master it. Whether you're struggling with imposter syndrome or just plain feeling stuck, this video is for you. Stick around and discover practical tips on how you can be a more confident, empowered version of yourself. A fundamental part of confidence is expectations. Do you have a positive expectation about yourself, about what you're about to do? Or do you have a negative expectation about yourself and what you're about to do? That is so wrapped up in your identity and your beliefs, but that expectation so controls what you do or don't do. And I can give you a prime example. It was about a dozen years ago, and I went to a training. And this training was horrible. The speaker was just terrible. It was literally, he was like reading from the book. And it was boring. And I knew what he was going to say before he even said it. Because I had studied this material so much and I had it down. And I thought to myself, how is this guy up there doing the presentation and I'm sitting in the audience? Anyway, I thought about that quite a bit. And towards the end of it, I went up and I talked to him. And I said, like, how did you get into this? And he goes, oh, I could see you. You knew the answers to things and you were really into this, and you probably might even think you're better than me, but here's the truth. I'm in the game. You're sitting on the stands watching it from the sidelines. You're not even in it. And in fact, you paid, or your school paid for you to go to this conference, and instead I'm here today and I got paid. And so that really hit me, as he believed he could do that. He had conviction and confidence that he could go up there, give that presentation, make the money, help people, even though he knew in his heart he wasn't that good. But he said he decided to do it. He decided to be a presenter. He decided to share this material. And for me, what he told me is he said, you're still thinking about it. And you don't even know what you want. You don't know if you want to get up here and do what I'm doing or not. And until you decide, until you expect that to happen and you expect it to work out, you're not even going to do it. His expectation was that he could do it. Even before he did it, he expected to be able to do it. I believed that I still needed to study more. I still needed to plan more. I needed to get better prepared. And that was my belief. And that belief limited me from actually doing that. So what you expect of yourself often will stop you before you even start. And I know there's that Don Shula quote that the start is what stops most people. And that's where I was in this situation. I had information I wanted to share. I wanted to do things like I'm doing now with a YouTube channel, but I didn't do that because I thought to myself, I'm not ready, or this won't work out, or what if I look silly on camera, these kind of things. And this guy, he didn't care. He didn't care if he was good or bad or whatever. He just was like, I'm going to do it. And it really sat with me for many years. Expectations are huge. They set the ship going right off the bat. Now, I think of this as like a teeter-totter. And which way am I having the scales go in my favor? Is it working with me or against me? Am I having the negative beliefs and negative outcomes? Is that weighing the scale and I'm thinking, oh, it's going to go in that direction? Or is it weighted towards the positive expectations and positive beliefs? And think about this. Most of us have failed. Most of us have envisioned things not working out. So we're replaying that in our head, or we've experienced that. And do we have an equal or greater amount of experiences that are positive, that are things that you can go, oh yeah, I did that and that worked out well. Oh yeah, that worked out. All this. And all these thoughts in your head, are they more positive, empowering you to do it, believing you can do it, having that expectation you can do it? Most of us, unfortunately, have all these expectations. We have a long history of expecting less of ourselves, expecting less outcomes, and so that's what we get. And if you can flip this part around of simply expecting more out of life, expecting more out of yourself, expecting more results, that is a game changer in and of itself. And it will definitely build your confidence, because the next thing is you have competence. And the only way you have competence and the confidence is by doing it and mastering it. If I just decide to go out and shoot one basket, I'm not going to be very confident that I could make that basket at the crucial point in the game, or if it's at the end of the game and I need to make the free throw. But if I have practiced that over and over and over, and I have competence in it, then my confidence is going to be really high, because I've done that. I've been there, I've done that. And that is what this is all about, is that competence level, is the repetition, the doing it. And you go from, I believe I can do it, to I know I can do it. When you get to the point of knowing versus believing, knowing is a lot more powerful. It's a lot stronger belief. It gives you a lot more confidence, knowing you can do something versus believing you can do something. This is a real game changer. Think back in your life when you didn't know how to do something. Maybe it was riding a bike. You didn't know how to do that. And then eventually you got it better and better and better. And then maybe you're riding without even your hands on the steering. You could just ride with your feet, okay? It didn't just happen overnight, but you built up those skills. Or learning how to drive. Initially, you had to really concentrate, no music on, you're just focused. Then later on, you're able to drive and do all kinds of things almost on autopilot. So you built up your confidence there. And you know how to drive. You know how to ride a bike. You don't have to worry about that anymore. But when you don't have that built up, and you haven't put in the reps, and you haven't done the time, then you're going to lack that confidence. But if it's something important enough, and confidence is, because confidence impacts all areas of your life, it's worth doing, and it's worth doing well to build that competence, which leads to strong, genuine confidence. We've all heard about identity, but how many of us have heard about lie-dentity? And that's when you lie about your identity. And most of us do that. We do that to fit in. We do that to be accepted. We do that for all kinds of reasons. Conditioning, programming, we think that's what we're supposed to be. We even believe we are our shadow, that type of thing. And when you can look at the truth will set you free, but it will also give you more confidence, because now you're not living this false self, this lie-dentity, where you're really not being yourself. You're not being authentic and genuine. But when you are being yourself, it's easier to be confident. Like me, if I'm doing something where it's totally me, I don't have to lie, I don't have to think, I don't have to wonder what's going to happen. I'm just being me. But when I try to be something I'm not, then it gets all goofy. The wheels are flying off the car, and that's not what we want here. So lie-dentity is when you start lying to yourself. And it started usually by you picking up false beliefs and then internalizing those, and then you're not really seeing your true identity. So if you want to have genuine confidence, you have to shed those lies and get to the truth, because the truth will give you a lot of confidence, whereas lies are a lower vibration, and they'll make you feel weaker and disempowered and those types of things, which is not going to help you in terms of confidence. Another thing that hurts your confidence is when you ask the question, why? Why didn't this work out for me? Why do I feel so unlucky? Why are things going difficult for me right now? Those types of things and those types of thoughts. When you ask disempowering questions, you're only going to get disempowering answers. So if you want to be more confident, you have to get rid of all those kind of questions that are lower level and weakening you. When you say things like, how come I can't make it work? And why do I always fail? Why is this so difficult? Why is it so hard? Why do I not know how to do this? Well, you're automatically going to come up with an answer. If I ask myself, why do I not know how to do this? My brain's going to come up with an answer and say, well, because you're lazy, you're dumb, you didn't spend the time studying, who knows what. But it's going to come up with some kind of answer, and it's not going to be helpful to me. On the other hand, if I ask a more empowering question, then I'm going to get an empowered answer. Maybe I might ask, Why do things always work out for me? Why do they always work out for me? Okay, now there I'm going to have some kind of positive answer. Why do they work out for me? Because I do good. I'm a good person. I try hard. I study. I put in the time. I put in the reps. I do this, okay? Something will come up that's more empowering than why does this not always work for me? Because if I say that, why does that not always work for me? Obviously, I'm going to come up with a bad answer. So think about that, because when you are trying to build your confidence and establish it and maintain it, you have to be really critical about the types of questions you ask yourself, because negative questions get negative results. Weak questions get weak results. Strong questions give you strong results. Empowered questions give you empowered results. And that is what you're going for. So you don't want to have any of these kind of negative questions. And what you want is all the positive ones. And it might not seem like, wow, that doesn't seem like a big deal, but that's a huge deal, because they've done studies, and most of our self-talk, it's something like 87% or higher, is negative. So we're asking all these negative questions, and that's what thinking is basically asking and answering questions. So when we think, we're asking a question like, what should I wear today? Does my boss like me? Is this going to work out? Is this person understanding what I'm saying? I mean, we're asking all these questions and then we're answering them, and that's what thinking is. So when you ask better questions, you automatically get better results, and the better results boost your confidence tremendously. Another factor in confidence is the question of how. How do I do this? How does this work? How can I get the raise? How can I do this? Or whatever. Whatever how question you ask, a lot of times what happens is you see a gap from where you are to where you want to be, or you think I don't know how to do that, so then you get gridlocked and you stop because it seems overwhelming. So for me, when I've tried to do things in the beginning, I don't know how to do it. Like when I started my YouTube channel, I had no idea. I was like one of the worst persons in terms of technology. I didn't know how to do any kind of technology. You can ask other people. I mean, I was just oblivious to it. Okay, I had no interest in it. Once I decided and I made that commitment, hey, I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to figure out the technology, the apps, the cameras, all these different kinds of things, how everything works. I didn't know what I didn't even know in the beginning, but I knew I was going to start. So I didn't know how to do it, but by getting in the game, like back to my first point, when that speaker he was the one doing it and I was in the audience watching, big difference there. So he's learning, he's getting better. I'm still sitting in the audience not figuring it out. But in this case, starting a YouTube channel, I started figuring things out. I didn't know everything, but each day, each video, each month, I would start figuring out better things. I'd figure out, oh, this is a better app, or this is a better camera, or this is a way how to edit things that will make it look better and not so clunky. And it's just like when you're driving at night, you can't see the whole path in front of you, but with your headlights, you can see a certain distance. And as you keep driving, you keep seeing that certain distance, and eventually you get to your destination. And that's how I look at how questions. How questions usually stop people, but if you could just set those aside and say, look, I don't know how to do it, but do I want to do it? And if I want to do it, then I go ahead and do it. And you will figure out how to do it step by step, day by day. And yeah, there's going to be some trial and error, but you'll figure it out. And in terms of confidence, doing that, you're going to feel way more confident by actually doing it and seeing what happens, rather than sitting back, theorizing about it, thinking about it, contemplating it, wondering, and those types of things. It's not going to give you the confidence of actually doing it. Now, it doesn't mean that your first video or your first step or your first thing that you do is going to be amazing, but you have to be in that mindset of, I'm going to start to be great, and I'm not necessarily going to be great when I start, but if I keep going, I'll get a lot better. And that's going to build your confidence. And if you think about anything you've done, I've talked about driving, I've talked about riding a bike, those two things. You weren't confident in the beginning, but after a while, you're very confident. And it's the same thing with anything you want to do. Practice, put in the reps. No, I don't know how to do it, but that's okay because I still will figure it out. And a good thing I tell myself is, I believe in my ability to figure this out. And that's an empowering statement, and that helps build confidence in me when I'm going through something that I have no idea how to do, but I'm like, okay, I believe in my ability to figure this out, and usually I do, or sometimes I might need some help from someone else or some resources or this type of thing, but eventually I do figure it out. As we start to wrap this video up, I really want to re-emphasize one point I made earlier, and that is, what are you expecting? Are you expecting positive outcomes for yourself, or are you expecting negative outcomes? And a good example to illustrate this is, imagine you are in a car driving, it's icy and snowy, and you start to lose control of your car, and you see a telephone pole in the distance. If you start looking at that and saying, oh, I hope I don't hit that pole. Oh, geez, I hope I don't hit that pole. You're more likely to hit that pole. And if you ask drivers, they're expert drivers, they'll tell you have to turn into the direction you want to go, even when everything else around you is telling you that's the exact opposite thing you should do. You have to focus on what you want, focus on the direction you want to go. And it's the same with your expectations, because your expectations are like the steering wheel of the car, and they're steering you some way and somewhere. So make sure that the expectations you have are serving you, they're for your highest good. There's something that is worthy of your time in your life, because where you're driving, that is your life. So your expectations are huge. And remember too, is that it takes time to develop these skills. So have some grace and patience with yourself. If you do want help, visit my website at bryanorton.com, and I can give you more tools and tips on this. Until the next video, I look forward to seeing you. You have to expect things of yourself before you can do them. Michael Jordan. You don't overcome challenges by making them smaller, but by making yourself bigger. John Maxwell. Confidence is contagious, so is lack of confidence. Vince Lombardi. The only person you are destined to become is the person you decide to be. Ralph Waldo Emerson.